Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SAS Viya Release Highlight Show. I'm here in Orlando, Florida for this year's SAS Innovate. If you didn't know by now, this is a 4-day-long event dedicated to AI and data. There's a lot to get to here, and it would be impossible for me to cover everything, but I will do my best to give you the highlights. Let's check it out. We are here at the Innovation Hub, the heart of the event. As you can see, there's a lot of hubbub going on around me. We have over 200 sessions, 100 demos, and 60 booths to explore with 2,000 other attendees. If we're talking SAS Viya, this is the place to be. A main stage topic this year is SAS Data Maker, so let's start there. Natalya Spicer, Senior Product Manager, and Harry Keene, Product Evangelist, will be joining me for an exclusive interview. Let's go talk to them. Hey, we're here with Harry and Natalya. Thank you both so much for joining me. I'd like to start us off with a really hard question. What is SAS Data Maker and what challenges does it help customers overcome?
So SAS Data Maker is a synthetic data platform that takes real data and end-to-end provides a user interface for users to create a safe synthetic replica that doesn't contain any of the real information, but does ultimately have the same statistical properties. And that's great because it allows them to use it much more freely in their organization so they can get around privacy challenges where they can't access sensitive data, but it also helps them maybe augment existing data sets or fill in data that they might have gaps in. So it's two key problems it solves, that challenge around accessing data and challenges where you don't have enough or missing data.
You mentioned safe synthetic data specifically. My next question has to do with that. How does SAS Data Maker ensure security? I've heard terms like privacy differential, something like that, and also no movement data. Could you correct me and tell me more about those?
Yeah, definitely. So differential privacy is a massive new feature that's coming to the Data Maker platform. It's a sort of mathematical guarantee that no individuals in the source data set could be identified when you just have access to the synthetic data, which is a real sort of table stakes kind of feature if you want to be able to share your data in and around your company. And the second big feature of the way Data Maker has been architected is that no real data ever has to leave the customer's source environment. The software comes to the data. So it's super safe in that respect as well.
So you mentioned specifically some security features. I'm curious to hear more about the key features of SAS Data Maker and how it differentiates from the competition, and also what's new with SAS Data Maker in 2025.
So SAS Data Maker will have all the new capabilities that our customers have been asking us for in 2024. One of the capabilities is a multi-table. A lot of our customers reached out to us asking, hey, can I use more than one table at a time? Yes, you can. Now you can do a lot of them. One of the number of tables customers were asking about is 25 plus. So yes, you absolutely can bring 25 plus tables and SAS Data Maker will be able to handle it. Another one is time series. So time series is something that a lot of our customers also been waiting for, so now it's available. And differential privacy is the last one, also a big one and also a big security concern for a lot of our customers that we will be able to cover in the upcoming release.
Ask and you shall receive. If you want a feature in SAS Data Maker, the team will give it to you. If people want to learn more about SAS Data Maker, where should they go?
Great question. SAS website has some information about SAS Data Maker and all the upcoming dates and releases. If you want to participate, or your customer or one of the customers wants to participate in our private preview, SAS Data Maker offers private preview on May 15th. That's when we will start. We will go for a few months and get additional customer feedback, see how the new application looks like, what are the features and capabilities our customers are still interested to see. And then our GA for SAS Data Maker is scheduled for July, mid of July. And so, yeah, if you're interested, please sign up or please reach out to us.
A couple of important dates there, just to repeat, May 15th and mid-July. I believe that SAS.com website is sas.com/data-maker. Harry, Natalya, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
From data input to data preparation, modeling is usually a clear next step. SAS Models have evolved a lot over the last year. Let's talk with Udo Sglavo, Vice President of Applied AI and Modeling, to break it down for us. I'm here with the one and only Udo to talk about SAS Models. Udo, you were on main stage for opening session. Could you tell me a little bit about how your presentation went?
Well, the presentation was awesome, I believe, because we had the opportunity to launch the Models as a Product initiative. Well, actually, we introduced it last year already, but this year we delivered on the promise. So we were basically capable of releasing our first batch of models at the event for the first time. It was an exciting moment, not only for me, but for the entire team. Everybody was really, really thrilled to make that happen.
Yeah, I remember last year you were on stage for SAS Innovate as well, and you came out as a model. That was really funny. One thing is that SAS models come in a bunch of different flavors. They have different capabilities, trained on different data sets. Could you tell me some standout models? Could you highlight some of your favorites for me?
We like to create models for different types of industries and some models which are industry agnostic, right? So the idea is basically to say, since we are providing intellectual property to our customers, these models need to be trained specifically for certain industry questions. So as an example, we do fraud models for the banking industry, and of course, those models will work also in a certain geographic environment. So we have to build fraud models for the American market, but we also have to build fraud models for the Asia Pacific market, which may similar, but they can't be the same because those are different markets, right? For the more industry agnostic models which we are building, I like to point out maybe entity resolution, which is a model which we created as well. Entity resolution deals with the question of, you have two tables which don't have a key which you can use to merge those tables together. So now you're basically using machine learning to look at the tables and say, well, what can we use as information to merge these tables? And then you will basically be able to merge these tables together and do some other additional reporting and modeling afterwards, if that makes sense. And you can see those models are not unique to any industry. They are not even unique to a geography. They are basically models we can sell worldwide, if that makes sense.
That's good to hear that we have industry agnostic models, like you said, as well as more specialized, specific models. But no matter what model we're working with, it's super, super important for us to have model governance and compliance. Could you tell me about how SAS ensures this in its models?
Well, as you know, SAS is always big on ethical AI and compliance, and working in regulated industry is one of our strong suits, actually. Our models are no different in that regard. In fact, most of our models, well, all of our models, I should say, integrate with the SAS Viya platform, so we can leverage the SAS Viya utilities to track models, where it makes sense. Just like for any other models we create with Model Studio, for example. The reason why I said, where it makes sense, since we have such a wide array of models, for some of these models, tracking model accuracy is not a big deal, right? Like the entity resolution model. I mean, there's no true accuracy. You either can map the tables or not, right? Now for fraud models, accuracy plays a huge role, right? And whether the model is still performing well or whether there's model drift and these kind of things, that's where Model Manager, the good old working horse, comes in to play, and we make sure that our models communicate with these environments. In fact, we are also feeding the new model cards for the predictive models, so we can use our modeling cards to also determine how are we doing with the models which we are delivering.
So we talked about deploying models and how we ensure model governance when we deploy it, but what about over time? Can you tell me some best practices for monitoring and retraining the model so it maintains accuracy?
So you see, the unique advantage with the models which we are delivering is that we can train the models ourselves, and we can say, here's a new version of the model, do you want to take this new release, right? Because we believe we improve the accuracy. So that's for the models where we do the training in-house. We also have models which are actually machine learning pipelines. So the customer feeds the data into the pipeline, and then we do the magic and you get the output. Now, how do you track those models? Well, it's the same as it has been before. If you detect model drift based on some statistics, it may be a good idea to revisit whether your model is still doing a good job. And the reason why it may not do a good job anymore is that you actually influence reality. What I mean by that is, as an example in fraud, right? If I have a fraud model, you are the fraudster, sorry mate, and I have a model which detects you and your behavior, you are a smart person, you will figure this out. So all of a sudden you are changing the way you do fraud, so my model will not know about this, right? So now I have to readjust the parameters of my model based on your new behavior, right? And I can only find this out if I'm tracking the model accuracy over time. And again, this is where model manager and these environments play an important role.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. As the fraudster adapts, the fraud models also have to adapt over time. One thing that I've heard about is agentic AI playing a part in SAS models. Could you tell me more about that?
Yeah, I believe this is the future of our model initiative. And actually it's the other way around. So the agents are using models, right? So the idea is basically to say, all right, we have determined a way how we can create models which address a certain business question. Can we marry this concept now with large language models and put it into an environment where we can tell an agent to accomplish a certain objective? So that basically means that unlike for a model where you basically get information back which helps you to do a decision yourself, or a system can do a decision, the object will deal with an objective, right? And it will do its job until the objective is reached without you knowing what the agent is actually doing, right? So it may talk to other agents behind the scenes. You know, as an example, we are working currently on a supply chain optimization agent. And as you know, for supply chain optimization, you need a forecast at some point in time. Well, now we have an agent for optimization, an agent for forecasting. The optimization agent will trigger the forecasting agent and say, hey, I need a forecast. It will give it the forecast, and I don't have to tell the system anything about that. They will figure this out amongst themselves. It sounds like futuristic, right? But this is reality today. And there are actually protocols available which allow agents to talk to each other. They're actually called agent-to-agent protocols, A2A, and we are supporting these kind of protocols.
That sounds super helpful that you can just have an agent talk to another agent, just let them figure it out. We actually just had a blog article come out for A2A as well, so I recommend checking that out. Udo, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking to us about SAS models. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So SAS models are using agentic AI. Seems like there's always a new flavor of AI to sink my teeth into. Let's talk to Marinela Profi, Global Product Marketing Lead for AI and Generative AI, to learn more. I'm here with Marinela to talk about agentic AI. My first question for you is an obvious one. What is agentic AI?
Thanks for having me, Tiago. Well, Agentic AI represents really tremendously exciting opportunities for both individuals and organizations to leverage artificial intelligence as a force multiplier. Because for the first time, now we have artificial intelligence systems that go beyond just the ability to predict or classify or detect, to having the ability to act and make decisions for us in an autonomous or semi-autonomous way. Now, obviously, we do believe in the power of having the human in the loop involved when we talk about AI agents, even though there is not a set definition in the market of what agentic AI is, that it's what our vision at SAS is about agentic AI. So having the human in the loop being really, really important.
Sounds like AI has evolved to a point where we can have agents talk to each other, and it's really cool to see. How is SAS evolving in the field of agentic AI specifically?
Yeah, so at SAS we see the future of AI lying in agents that are relevant and that are able to make context-aware and context-driven decision at scale and with trust. So the way that we're approaching this space is a three-pillar strategy portfolio. The first, we are first of all infusing AI, productivity AI assistant into our own platform and solution. So with SAS Viya Copilot, which is a productivity AI assistant that we have developed in partnership with Microsoft,
Microsoft, we are literally giving our users a conversational experience with our platform and our solutions. So starting from Q3 2025, we're in private preview now, but Q3 2025 users are going to have the ability to essentially use Viya Copilot to do things like generate SAS code, explain SAS code, train machine learning models, or for clinical data trial discovery, or for asset liability management. So not just data science tasks, but also industry tasks. So that's the first pillar of our strategy, enabling our own SaaS users to use Agentic AI. The second is we want to enable our customers to build their own agents, right? So with SAS Intelligent Decisioning on SAS Viya, we are allowing organizations to design, implement and orchestrate AI agents for any use case, bringing in any LLM of choice. We are completely LLM agnostic, but we provide them the ability to govern large language models and build agents that they can understand how they made the decision, so having explainability built in, governance built in, and auditability mechanisms. And last but definitely not least, in addition to a platform play, so an Agentic AI platform, we're also evolving our SAS Models portfolio into including domain-specific agents. So think of these like pre-packaged agents that leverage the huge experience that SAS has in industries and that are ready to plug into industry workflows. And these could be agents like that execute or help with data engineering tasks or optimizing supply chain. So those are the three pillars. We are really tackling market demand and needs under all the angles, so I'm super excited about it.
I'm super excited for the future of SAS Viya Copilot. It was great to see SAS Intelligent Decisioning be a main topic on main stage this year as well. My next question you might have touched on a little bit already, but could you tell me a little bit more about the use cases of Agentic AI and SAS?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're seeing the potential and the benefits that Agentic AI can bring across so many industries. We're seeing it across, software development, app development, code generation, code explanation is a huge one. So just to accelerate all the development tasks, that's a great application and a use case for Agentic AI. But we're also seeing that on a more industry scale with things like financial services, credit scoring, insurance claims processes, customer complaints processes, or campaigns execution and management on a marketing side of the house. Or supply chain and manufacturing is a huge one, to have agents that optimize in real time the way that demand adjusts within supply chain industry. So I would say those are the main. Obviously healthcare as well, clinical data trial discovery, it's a huge one where we are seeing agents bringing a lot of value. The power of Agentic AI really spans across many industries. However, for real successful enterprise implementation adoption, what I recommend to my customers is to start small, pick a use case that you can easily measure the return on. So you have already a KPI or a formula that you can easily translate and measure the benefits in terms of, hours saved or money saved or resources saved and productivity. So start with that, learn some lesson, and then you can scale easily. Power of Agentic AI really spans across so many use cases and industry, and it's really an amazing technology that is just waiting to be explored and tapped at an enterprise level, obviously, with the governance and guardrail needed.
Perfect. That's a really good tip, to just start small before you go on and explore the rest of the vast world that is Agentic AI. Marinela, thank you so much for being on the show with us, and we hope we get you on the show again next year. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Tiago. It's always a pleasure to be part of your show. Thanks again.
You may recognize Marinela from past Hackathon webcasts. She was also here at Innovate last year on stage handing out awards to the Hackathon winners. What is the SAS Hackathon, you might be asking yourself? Well, I got just the thing for you. It's another exclusive interview. We're here with Einar and Peter talking about the SAS Hackathon. I'd like to start us off with a pretty easy question. What is the SAS Hackathon?
Yeah, that's a very different hackathon. A typical hackathon is often a two-day event, a physical get-together, but the SAS Hackathon is so different, and it's much more than a competition. It is 1 month access to SAS Viya. It has support from a SAS mentor, and it is all digital, meaning that a team can sit wherever and they also have access to a SAS learning portal. The event is taking place in the fall, and we are seeing students, we are seeing customers, we are seeing partners in a team by themselves or a mix, and this is an use case driven. One of the key moments here is that it is the participants that bring their challenge, they bring their use case, so they could actually make what they are developing on their own data, which is very relevant for the teams. And throughout this 1 month, they are building a storytelling of how they're using the tools, how they're tackling the problem, and everybody's a winner just by doing it, because it's like bringing teams together, it is learning, and it is also developing this story about how our tools and technology saving problems, a business problem or a humanitarian problem. And in the end of all this process, they are handling in a 3-minute video, a video with their story, and also a 10-minute video that the jury looks at. And everybody is a winner just by participating, but there's always some champions out there.
Thank you for breaking it down. Yeah, it doesn't sound like this is your everyday hackathon. This is an evolved beast of a program. Here at SAS Innovate, we also are hearing about the SAS Hackathon Bootcamp. Could you tell me a little bit more about what the Bootcamp is?
The SAS Hackathon Bootcamp, the hackathon comes in many different shapes. So in the Hackathon Bootcamp, it's a 3-hour hackathon where you actually experience technology. So we have created 8 different assignments for the participants, and they could choose and pick whatever. Either they do 2 or all 8 of the assignments. And of course, we are running on the latest stuff from Microsoft and Intel, and they could try out like Workbench, Data Maker, model cards, and all that new technology is available in the bootcamp for them to try out and learn. So that's hopefully a great experience for the participants.
How does the SAS Hackathon tie into SAS Viya and these new products that are coming out like Data Maker and SAS Viya Workbench? Could you touch a little bit more on that?
Yes, I mean, they are key. So we are working tightly with the cloud team, with R&D, and of course the sponsors, Intel and Microsoft. So what we are doing is we are offering all the participants like Viya Enterprise, all the capabilities. On top of that, we are adding new products like SAS Viya Copilot, SAS Viya Workbench and Data Maker, and also model cards. And in addition to that, of course, we also want open source people to be part of the hackathon, so they could choose to work with Python or R. So it's really a family coming together and hacking regardless of their skill sets, I would say, yeah.
What's on the horizon for the SAS Hackathon? What do we have to look forward to?
Well, the 11th of June, we will have the kickoff live on YouTube and LinkedIn. And that's where we announce the date and the process from now and until takeoff. And from 11th of June then, you could register and you could then build your team. And then in September, mid-September to mid-October is the 1-month hackathon. And we are taking on board customers, and we are taking on board partners, we are taking on board students, and bring your use case that is relevant for you, because the more relevant this is, the more time you're able to spend on it. And then after this 1 month, then the jury is going to look at that, and we will then have the award session, again, live on YouTube and LinkedIn in November timeframe.
So is registration open now?
11th of June, with the kickoff, we open the registration.
You heard it here first, folks. June 11th, be on the lookout for that. Einar, Peter, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Going from the broad landscape of the SAS Hackathon, let's break things down to the quantum level. I'm, of course, talking about quantum AI. We're going to talk to Amy Stout, head of quantum product strategy, to learn more. I'm here with Amy to talk more about quantum AI. So, Amy, my first question for you is, could you describe what quantum AI is and how it relates to analytics, specifically SAS?
Quantum AI is the combination of quantum computing and artificial intelligence. So quantum computing is a different type of computation than what we're used to in our laptops and supercomputers that exist today. Think of the CPUs and GPUs that you might be using in your existing workflow. You will now be adding in the QPUs, or quantum processing units. Now, quantum computers can help us solve certain problems, very complex problems, more quickly. So at SAS specifically, we are finding the best integration points to bring in that power of quantum processing with our existing SAS data and analytics.
Thank you for breaking it down for me. I had no idea what quantum AI was, so I appreciate it. The next question I have for you is, what is SAS's plans specifically for quantum AI? Do we have any products in the future?
Absolutely. So next year in 2026, we are expecting to have tools and products for SAS customers to more easily, seamlessly access the power of quantum computing with SAS data and analytics. Today, what we're doing is we are working with customers on pilot projects, like the one that was referenced at Innovate this week. That was an optimization problem, and we're also looking at other problems like machine learning and simulation of nature. Think things like quantum chemistry or materials science with SAS customers.
It's cool to hear. Yeah, it was fun to see that on main stage talked about directly. What about vendors? Are we planning anything with cloud vendors or academic institutions?
Absolutely. So being in the software and application space for quantum, like SAS is, we are collaborating with the hardware vendors in quantum computing. There's many different approaches to quantum computing hardware. So currently our key collaborators are some leaders in the space, including D-Wave, who does quantum annealing, as well as IBM, who does superconducting quantum computing. And we're also working with Quera, who does neutral atom-based quantum computing. And our goal at SAS is to bring the best of all quantum processing power to our end users, regardless of what type of hardware it is.
Lots of different avenues there. That sounds really cool. My last question for you. In the next 5 to 10 years, how do you envision SAS positioning itself in the quantum AI space?
The next 5 to 10 years for the quantum AI space in general is really promising, very exciting. We expect that there will be a lot more maturity and scalability on the hardware side. So where SAS will fit in is being able to mature alongside the hardware as it scales. What we want to do is continue bringing those tools and the power of QPU with SAS data and analytics in those types of problems in optimization, machine learning, and simulation of nature in the best way possible as the space matures.
Yeah, it sounds like it. A lot to look forward to. Amy, thank you so much for coming on the show and telling us more about quantum AI. We just talked about quantum AI, which is a returning event topic for us here on the show. Another returning topic is SAS Viya Workbench. Let's talk with Joe Madden, Senior Product Manager, to learn more about what's new with Workbench. I'm here with Joe to talk about SAS Viya Workbench. Joe, SAS Viya Workbench now, it's been released, it's been adopted. Can you tell me what the response has been so far?
Yeah, we've had an awesome response. We launched on AWS this past year, and now we're very excited to be announcing that it's available on Azure coming out in the next few months. We have customers who will be recruiting into private previews now here at our booth at SAS Innovate, and we'll be taking more private preview signups over the next few months.
Sounds like we've been getting great feedback. And you mentioned some new features as well. Could you tell me about some of those, and in particular ones that can help developers make their jobs easier?
Oh, for sure. So first off, we're making it easier. You can attach your existing enterprise storage. We know that's a big one. Everything starts with data, right? So we focused almost all of our efforts on making sure that is just seamless. Next thing we're doing is we're going to try to make sure that customers can make sure that their environments, like your Python versions, you have all the free range flexibility you want. We've heard the feedback and we know it's coming soon. So we have a new custom environment feature to be out very soon. We're very excited about.
Cool, lots of new features, love to hear it. One other question I have for you is SAS programs. You can now access them using native Python code. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes, absolutely. So we unveiled this a couple years ago. You don't have to actually have awareness of SAS analytics to get the benefits of it, which is cool. I joined SAS 3 years ago, didn't have much exposure to SAS in school, right? But what you can do is write your Python code and it calls our SAS analytics, so the same performance that maybe your colleagues get with a SAS procedure, you're now getting that with a Python function. It's super cool, and we're gonna add R capabilities, so if you're an R coder or the R language, you can do that same trick with R code. We're so pumped about it.
Awesome, gotta love Python. R is also coming up next. Joe, could you tell me what else is on the horizon for SAS Viya Workbench?
Yes, so we got a very full roadmap, but one of the most exciting ones we know customers will be excited for is our ability to build a scheduled job. I can define when I want my job to run, and hopefully, so by the time that I get back to my desk, it's completed, or if Monday morning it runs at the weekend, it's there for you.
I like the sound of that. Schedule a job, just set it and forget it, and then it's done when you come back. Sounds sweet. Joe, thank you so much for coming on the show to talk to us more about SAS Viya Workbench. AI governance. It's not only a super hot topic at this year's SAS Innovate, it's also a super important one no matter what you're doing. So I say, let's go learn more. I'm here with my ex-co-host, Briana Ullman. She's here to talk about AI governance, something that's very important no matter if you're working with SAS Viya Workbench, SAS Data Maker. It's important across anything we use. So to start us off, can you tell me how SAS defines AI governance?
Yeah, so when we think about AI governance, we want to think about how do we ensure that our AI is responsible and trustworthy, especially when we have this market right now of regulations that are always changing, things like the EU AI Act, and in many places in the world, regulations are still kind of incoming, but with global companies these days, they're affecting everyone. And if you're a technical user or a data scientist or developer, you might think, okay, this feels like my boss's problem. But this does affect our users because as you're developing your models, you might start getting asked some new questions. So people might be coming to you and saying, okay, how can I prove that this is trustworthy? How can I be sure that this is following our standards that we've set around AI governance as an organization? And so it's more important than ever that these data scientists and other technical users are able to prove and show within their work that the decisions they're creating can be trusted. And this is really why we have created AI governance capabilities for many years. This is not something that's new to SAS. We have many AI governance capabilities within products like SAS Information Catalog, SAS Model Manager, and our award-winning SAS Model Risk Manager.
So you mentioned a lot of capabilities, different capabilities we have available. Which capabilities in particular are around for us to ensure AI governance?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we're thinking about the kind of life cycle of creating our models, right? We are managing our data, and then we are actually building those models, using some algorithms, developing them, and then we're deploying that model. And there's a couple of capabilities that I think really stand out kind of in each phase here. So when it comes to managing, accessing, and governing your data lineage is a really great way to do that and prioritize trustworthy AI. When it comes to developing your models, we have capabilities around bias mitigation and bias detection that are incredibly helpful. And when it comes to deploying those insights, that's where model cards can really help to track the performance of your model over time. And overall, we have 60 plus trustworthy AI capabilities across our ecosystem and across SAS Viya. So these really help to facilitate AI governance by spreading that trustworthiness throughout the organization.
I think that's the second time I've heard about model cards today. We talked to Udo earlier and he mentioned it as well. Could you tell me more about what model cards are?
Absolutely. So model cards can kind of be viewed like nutrition labels for your models instead of your food. So if I'm going to the grocery store, right, and I am having decision paralysis, I don't know what to get, a nutrition label can really help me out because I know that every single product in that grocery store has a nutrition label. I can, find that information pretty easily, and I have at least a basic understanding, I think, of how to interpret that information and really make the best decision for me. So that's what model cards are doing for your models. They're providing critical information about things like the intended use of the model, as well as what kind of data it was trained on, and that can really help prove that models are trustworthy, and they're very easy to see the insights and understand the insights from that model card as well.
We got to make sure our models doesn't have any trans fat, low on sodium, healthy models. Briana, if we want to learn more about AI governance and how SAS is approaching it, where can we go?
Yeah, so you can check out sas.com/AI governance. There are tons of great demos and resources there. We also have just launched an AI governance map. So if that's something you want to dive into a little bit deeper and figure out, where am I and where is my organization in terms of our AI governance maturity, you can take that AI governance assessment and it'll give you some recommended next best steps to continue on your AI governance journey.
Perfect. Lots of resources there. Briana, thank you for coming on the show. Hopefully next year we'll have you back on the interviewer side. It's a little lonely. So thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. We just had a huge announcement here at SAS Innovate. There is a new partnership between SAS and Epic Games having to do with digital twins. I have an exclusive interview with William Collis and Paul Gavin, head of games here at SAS, to learn more. Let's go talk to them. I'm here with William and Paul to talk about digital twins. Guys, thank you so much for coming onto the show. My first question for you is one you've probably have been getting a lot. What are digital twins?
Sure. Digital twins are a simulation of the real world. It's very important that you capture all the key parameters and processes that are happening in your real physical system in this simulation so that you can have realistic data come out of it.
Here at SAS Innovate, we just had a big news announcement about a partnership with SAS, Georgia Pacific, and Epic Games. Can you tell me more about this partnership and what it means for SAS?
Yeah, absolutely. This is really exciting news. So first, let's take it in sort of two stages. So first, SAS is partnering with Epic Games. They are the folks behind the Unreal Engine, which powers really some of the most successful games in the market today, particularly Fortnite, Rocket League. And crucially, for our purposes at SAS, it is also, I think, probably the engine capable of the best real-world fidelity rendering. It basically looks and acts the most like the real world. So obviously, SAS has best-in-class analytics. We're combining it with the Unreal Engine to create sort of an experimental laboratory for optimization and synthetic data creation. And to do that, we obviously need to partner with real problems. Well, that's GP. They've asked us to look for sort of the first use case for this at optimizing their fleet management in some of their plants. And more broadly, we're also going to extend this to look at some worker safety issues. So we're super excited, for SAS to be partnering with these two great companies, Epic and GP.
So with this Georgia Pacific partnership, it specifically has to do with the manufacturing industry. Can you tell me what industries digital twins may help as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many industries. That's honestly, most industries should today be looking at utilizing digital twins in at least some element of their operation. Quick examples can be anything from, anything with manufacturing or supply chains or inventory management, hospitals for things like patient flows, retail for things like setup and store display, and then obviously the industries that already have relatively high rates of digital twin adoption today, including things like automotive and aerospace.
Gotcha. The sky's the limit in terms of what industries we can help. My final question for you is having to do with computer vision. Can you tell me about how computer vision plays into digital twins?
Sure, absolutely. So once you have this beautiful photorealistic digital twin that we've made in Unreal Engine, as William mentioned, you can then take those same assets, that same condition set, right, put some character models in it, and then model some unsafe worker behaviors. You also can create as much synthetic data as you want for these things by varying pose, lighting conditions. You can change protective equipment styles, all this, right? And from this, you can build up a much more robust computer vision model.
Lots of possibilities. On main stage, Alfonso Ribeiro showed us an action figure of Dr. Goodnight. When can we expect a Dr. Goodnight Fortnite skin?
Yeah, probably next week. I don't know. I would just keep checking, guys. If you refresh the Epic Games store enough, it'll show up.
Perfect. Thank you. And we got to add each other on Epic Games, Absolutely. Get some games in. Yeah. And I really appreciate you both coming on the show. Yeah. No build only, that's right.
I'm too old.
Exactly. Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
Well, folks, we covered a whole lot today. We talked about SAS Viya Workbench, SAS Data Maker, Agentic AI, and so much more. If you want to dig into any of these topics further, well, you're in luck. A lot of the event is available now at sas.com/digitalpass, where you can watch it on demand. So be sure to go there and register. I'm curious to hear about what your favorite part of the event was, so please let me know in the comments below. For me, I would have to say that the partnership with SAS, Epic Games, and Georgia Pacific was my favorite. Super excited to see how that will progress. If you're watching this on YouTube, why not give us a like? subscribe to the SAS Users YouTube channel and click on that bell so you'll get notified for when we go live on our next show in August. I've been your host, Tiago de Souza, and I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching.